おはようございます。Hi, good morning. How's it going? こんばんは。こんにちは。Good evening, good night, good afternoon, whatever it is you are. Let me transition real quick. Hi. So today, you Ohio me, sir. Good morning, phantommat. The sun isn't up yet. Well, even if the sun were up, I cannot see it because it's way too cloudy today for me. Kumo wa osigiru kara hi o minai. できない。じゃあ、まあね。I forgot to get my poncho and stuff. Oh well. I mean, you can see it like it's literally right here. See that's a poncho. It's literally right there. Oh well, I'm not really cold or anything. I got my coffee. So here's the thing is today we barely have any flashcards. As you can see, there's only 12 and 2. So finally, the time has come. We're gonna add new words to learn. And we're gonna be, in the case of Heisig Kanji, we're gonna be drawing them and making up stories. And you can laugh at how bad my drawings are. And what dumb stories I come up with. Or if I just take James's Heisig ones. And for internet pickups, we'll try to add new words from other places. I have a memo with a bunch of those on my phone, and I put some of those words on a TXT here. So we'll be learning those. We'll be adding those, doing practice of a lot of those. Of course, that's not gonna take us as long as it's been taking us to go through 200 flashcards this past week. So it's gonna be a shorter session of kanji and stuff, which is okay because that gives us more time for grammar. And today, regarding grammar, I wanted to go over yesterday uses for te form, particularly te form with the verb iku and kuru. Because it wasn't fully clear to me. Like, I'm getting a much better idea because I watched a video I posted on Discord explaining it. And I was asking around and I looked at more examples. So I think I have a better idea of how it works. But just in case, I want to review it again, make sure it's clear to me at least. And then try to move on to new. First and foremost, a stretch. Quickest of dabs. Okay, you got it, Phantom. I got you. In fact, you have no clue how much I've got you. Oh, Hayo! Oh boy, that's one way to start the day. Okay. Big stretch, you know. Ah. ちゃんと来ました。So let's go through what I'm supposed to be learning. 始まりましょう。漢字の練習。 It was the best option you had at your disposal. Like, to be fair, Phantom, I do like stretch and move around every morning. When I wake up, more particularly, I put music and I move like an idiot around. Yeah. To be fair, the music is very fun. Plug! Yay, I kind of went overboard a little bit. Mamoru, to guard, to protect. Is it Mamoru? Mamoru? I think it's Mamoru. Yeah, it is Mamoru. Savings. Everything like an idiot. Damn, you got me. To save up money, yeah. Canopy. Finally, I got this one, dude. It took me forever. Like this. Yeah. Oh, this is like, like crystal or sparkle or something. You can see like 3 days, and you can, 3 suns. Yo, completed basically. Complete, yeah. Peril. So you draw the treasure that it is, and then you make it red. This is state, basically. Plan. Oh, plan. Yeah. What was it? No. Okay. I got it. I remember it. Wait up. Hi. Okay, it looks very scuffed, okay, but it is there. Yeah, this is to bury in the ground. Yeah, likeness. It's either this, okay, or it's either this. The thing is, they're like very similar. Okay, it is this. This is resemblance. Okay, this is resemblance and this is likeness. As you can see, like I have the idea clear. It's just, geez, some of those are like very similar in terms of English words. You have to understand most of these things. It's going through Spanish, English, Japanese in my head, because a bunch of these English words I don't know, I'm not familiar with, or I'll only use one of those two because they're synonyms. State. We just saw state. Come on. Congratulations, you finished. Cool. Let's do the other two. Real quick. Photograph. Shashin. Shin. Yay. Looks pretty good. Lonely. Sabishi. Sabishi or Sabishi, either or. We did it! Yay! Congratulations, you have finished. 3.8 minutes. Congrats, guys. We did it. And now it finally begins the fun part that I had planned all along. So, let's go over this lesson real quick, beginning from spoon. Kanji 444. 444. I'll change to this real quick, so that we can check out the lesson. So basically this symbol, this character, a pictograph of a spoon, is enough to remember. Yes, it is pretty easy to remember, honestly, once you know. And then you have north, kita. I just kind of remember kita because I don't really need much of a pictograph, honestly. Stature, you have north, and this radical that we're using is usually used for like flesh or like body parts or like something related to human body. Even though it originally means, the moon, right? We've been using it with this book a lot as the body flesh, when it's especially like this, way more squared and not so much like this, right? So you have the body or the flesh, and then you have the northernmost part of the body in a way, right? Haha. And that's how tall you are, your stature. And then to compare, well, you put them together, basically. 2 spoons, comparing type of cooking. Okay, whatever you say. Descendants, so under the sun, so by comparing with anthropologists, let's go over the ladder. Have descended from progenitors dedicated in higher branches, but the very idea of seeing everything descended from everything else. The way I was under the sun, we grew up the same or something. I don't remember exactly what story I came up with, but I always remember like under the sun, like the 2 things, the 2 guys. And then minna or minasan, right, for all. It just shows so often that I didn't need to know. I didn't need really anything else. I just knew it. Even before I saw it on the book. And then mix, it's like when you use water, like basically to water down the descendancy because you're mixing races. It pisses me off because it's basically racism, right? This character suggests water down the quality of one descendants, the oldest racial nonsense in the world. Yes, and that's why remembering this kanji kind of pisses me off because it's just racist. But so then we saw the one for like kind of siesta and all of these kanji, in which basically you have. Let me show you the pictograph. Okay, so you have the sun, right, and then you have this and this. So basically, I like to think of like some dark streets or alleys or something, right? And there's this guy, yes, taking a nap or a siesta or something under a big bright sun, right? As you can see, he's like against the wall, right? And in the dark thing. So then you have this radical. And then it shows, once you have that picture of the guy lying down, like, kind of like in a, I don't know, a film almost. Then you add thirst, right? For example, then you add some water there, but like, the guy is thirsty, and they're like the hot sun in the middle of the street. Makes sense. Then, for audience, imagine this guy is summoned by the emperor or something, because that's how he used to be. I don't know, a former like assassin or really good at something. I don't know, and that's how his story is about to begin, right? In a way. Because he's the protagonist or some film or something. So, my boy, right here, just taking the nap, gets summoned, gets called, gets spoken to begin. Right. And then brown, or more like a dark brownish. So this is for like clothing or even a scarf, I believe. So I just remember one of these really cool like dark scarves. black, almost really dark brownish. That is in not perfect state because of some adventure or another in the past. And finally, horse. I just imagine that when he speaks, he has like a really deep, rough voice. So out of that image of like kind of like film protagonist kind of guy, bam, I remember like 4 kanji and like this one radical really. Ain't that cool? Can you see kind of why? I mean, probably the real meaning will be different later, but it's really cool. See, that's what I like about using Heisig's kanji book. So, with that said, let's try to learn even more words. Usually I add either 5 or 10 flashcards a day. So we'll see how we remember it. So let's see. Delicious. Something is downright delicious that one spends the entire day with a spoon in hand, gobbling it up. That's pretty straightforward. The problem is that for delicious, I always associate, yes, oishii, not this. So I'm guessing it has like a might. I'm gonna find the other kanji here. Mune, principal, main, purpose, central part. Huh. Mune. Yeah, so I always like to look at the word in the dictionary and see what it says instead. Because as you can see, delicious and the actual more likely use, not so much. Kanoyo kara kekkon dekimasen to you mune degami todoita. So from the girl about not getting married, basically, basically the rejecting the marriage proposal. Mune no tegami. So the main point of the letter, I guess, ga todoita, and then that I received, basically. So this is todoku, right? Todoku, todoita. Actually, I want todoku is probably a word I should learn of receive. Todoku. Todoku. So how do we want to learn this? As like the main point of a letter, or like delicious in a way. So we need like a good way to remember it, really. So, I mean, it's basically this and sun. I mean, we could go back and think of like this of a guy sitting and do the following, to spend all day thinking about either the main point or how tasty something was, I guess. Right? Because we have something has to happen all day with this day at the bottom. Because if sun is not above, thinking of this as anything other than day is not something I want to do. So I guess we could think again of this street, I suppose, or I guess a place, and there's a guy right laying down there, sitting down there. Really. Pondering all day or thinking all day, right? Just how tasty something is, or something how delicious something is, I guess, or the main point, or how that's, I don't know, something like that. Why not? It works for now. Is it super clear? No, not this. Neither does it have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be super clear always either. Monet. Well, yeah, it's not Monet, it's Monet. Because I'm pretty sure Monet, as in this, means chest, but yeah, Monet. And then this is Monet. So then we're gonna write down delicious and main point, just in case. Once that we've done it to the list, you know what's next? You guessed it. We're gonna practice it. Yay. Not like it's very hard, honestly. But, and yeah, I was just wanted to make sure that first of all it's this horizontal, and you do this, and then you do the like normal. So, because the thing is, if the mini story thingy, an explanation I just came up with doesn't work, good old practice on writing it a lot will. So. And it's kind of nice, honestly, writing kanji. I like it. Like at one point, I keep saying it, but it really does become intuitive. In terms of like the stroke order and the radicals and the placement. You just get a feeling for it, really. So that should be in 3 music, by the way. Okay, did I overdid it? Maybe. Okay, let's move on to the next kanji. Fat. This kanji tells us that you feed the flesh with too many delicious things, so it's to pick up a thick layer of fat. Okay, let's fat. This is usually what I think of. Futo. And then Shibo. Fat agrees. So it's more as in not the adjective of someone being fat, but more like the fat of animals and stuff, right? Which we can do as two things, honestly. Because basically, you know, I've always been associating this with flesh and body or stuff. We just learned this, right? For delicious, and we kind of said that it's more for like a main point. So the main delicious part of animals and stuff, when you eat them, like pig and cows and stuff, the fat is pretty good. Healthy? Fuck no. But it's really good. God damn, look at bacon. So let's, I'll write down abura and then remove the other part. Abura. We found it. Cool. Fat. Hey, That's two flashcards, by the way. The one that shows me the kanji and I'm supposed to know the meaning, and the one that shows me the words and I'm supposed to write the kanji. I make both flashcards. Ideally, you only have the word and then the kanji and stuff. Or I don't remember, maybe it was the other way around that he was trying to learn us. The point is, since I'm also kind of learning a bunch of English words here and there that I don't know, it does help me a lot to see both flashcards every time. It does, and I get to see the kanji more, honestly. I don't think having more practice is necessarily bad, even though it's not fully recommended by the book. Because I remember he was saying something like, just use one type of flashcard because that's the point, or something. I'm like, you know. Oishii. Kohiga. Isn't coffee great? I like coffee. Don't you like coffee? Coffee. Okay. This one, it's pretty much the one we just learned, but only has the tsuki or moon or month or flash next to it, whatever you want. What I call it. And it is there. Again, we're not really worried about the specific real meaning, as you can see here. But it does help to know the basic meaning it does come with, right? And I can already tell you this is not like a common kanji or anything. Because I've barely seen it at all. Actually, I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. But, you know. Okay, let's move on to the next word that we want to learn today. I1. The Roman numeral 1 or I, much like that we did for 2 earlier. Yeah, I didn't like when you did this earlier anyway, dude. It's only really used now. No wonder. Okay, let's look up that kanji on that one dictionary I have. 100 in kanji search. So, thankfully, I know the stroke order. Oh, there you go, found it. It's 360. Huh? What am I? Well, let's copy the kanji and put in an actual dictionary I can actually understand and read. Oh, it's just really an awful way to write one. Okay, chat, let's be honest. Do we actually really want to learn this kanji? Because I'm all for learning a lot of kanji that are very uncommon, I'll barely ever use or something. But this just feels archaic. Like, come on. No, I'm not learning this. I didn't like it at all when he tried to teach me two in Roman numerals, and I didn't like it at all either when you're trying to teach me one in Roman numerals. So screw you. Sorry. Okay. New. So whenever there's an asterisk, it means it's a new radical. So it's not necessarily a new kanji, but we're gonna associate this radical a meaning because it's gonna show up a lot. And this one, I already know it's gonna show up quite a bit. Because either it's in words I use often enough. more kind of like Mainichi. Whenever we write Mainichi on the title, even the first thing you see it's Mainichi, which is literally every, as you can see right here, every Mainichi, as in every day. This part of the title means every day, Mainichi, every day. Ain't that cool? So, reclining. The picture is obvious. The first reg represents the head and the second the body of someone reclining. You'll also use the synonyms lying or lying down. So it first goes like this and then... I kind of prefer the laying down one. I think I have a better time picturing someone laying down. Because reclining, so I think of a seat, right? Say on a cinema or something, and then you kind of recline it a lot. But it only goes as far as this in a way, right? So trying to do that backwards does confuse my head a little bit. But if you're in a sofa, right? For example, that's a sofa or a bench or something, right? Hang with me. If you're in a sofa or something and you're like laying down with your arm kind of falling off in a way, then that is a much better image for me. Simply because my little brother slept like that a lot. Right? Can you see that? So you have this for like laying down, because, you know, on the sofa. That's an awful drawn, so you get the point, right? With the arm kind of like falling off, like hanging down, right? You know how, right? I don't have to go to my bed and elaborate, right? Actually, fuck it, let's do it. So, kind of like, you're sleeping like this, and then your arm is kind of falling off, right? Why am I doing this? You guys get the fucking point. I don't need to do this. But yeah, laying down. Let's laying down. So let's see how that translates into every. Behind every successful person lies a woman. Well, usually turns out to be one's mother. So haha or mama or haha or ga-san, or the mother kanji is basically this, right? And it's being used as a radical here, so that's why we have these two dots do become a line, and you get a little line, and then you add laying down on top first, and then you got every. So my yeah. See, so the as a suffix, it's read prefix is read as my. I guess also as goto, but never seen it as goto. But yeah, let's write it down. But yeah, I mean, saying... Oops. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yes, honestly, the fact that Heisig said that phrase of behind every successful person lies a woman, I like that. Well, behind every successful man lies a woman, I guess. Person, no, whatever. Yeah, it does help. Every successful person lies a woman, which is the mom. I like it. Also, I don't really need to think of a big convoluted story or something too interesting to remember. simply because I already knew this word before even seeing it on the book, because I keep using it every day. It's毎日. But with that sentence alone, it's even harder to forget. So that's Donkey Kong Country music. Okay, and that's every. That was gotcha for. Okay. Well, got every. Okay, that's 3 words we've learned so far, right? Correct. Delicious, fat, and every. Just the radical doesn't count. So we can learn 2 more, which would be cleverness and plum. Behind every successful taskmaster, the cleverness of a fox to outweigh his charges. Yeah, this is not very helpful. Just know that throughout the book, James Heisig associated this radical to a taskmaster of some sort, right? So we have to associate every taskmaster with cleverness. Let's look it up actually. Cleverness. Usually, again, it's usually not the first thing that shows up. We may have to use another dictionary. That's okay. And this is what I mean when it's not the actual meaning that shows up in normal Japanese. Thankfully. I went overboard with that. And then, see, it just showed up. I'm too good. Satoi. Satoshi. Satoi. Clever, smart. Satoi. Correct. Quick, nimble, agile, sharp, smart, clever. See, so even having the meaning of cleverness associated with this kanji, it's not even too far off, honestly. Again, just justifying why I'm using Heisig's kanji book. On top of it being fun. So, cleverness, agile, alert. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of like kind of anime or like some movie or some show. So you want to defeat every taskmaster, right? For that, you have to come up with clever tricks because you're not gonna be better at their task because they're taskmasters, but some clever or smart trick to surpass them in a way. Or to win that duel or something. I'm just trying to stick with the meaning of surpassing every taskmaster through cleverness. I don't care any other thing about like duels or like when it is. That's how I'm thinking of. Right? So you get every taskmaster. You want to surpass them with like being smart and being, witty, stuff like that. That's usually what kind of happens in a show like that, in shows, right? Or anime and stuff. Like, oh wow, I didn't expect this. Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep that meaning in mind of surpassing every taskmaster with wit and cleverness, and get that on my head for the kanji. and I get the idea. So when I think cleverness, I'll think of that. Makes sense? It does to me, so screw you. So again, explaining my thought process so that you can kind of follow with the kanji. So that's diminished count, by the way. Okay, I think that's enough writing for it. I mean, every time I write it more, I feel like it's even more and more scuffed. But, okay, so it was bin. Bin. So let's add bin. Not the trash, but bin. Usually I'll have to cycle through the keyword a lot to find the actual kanji. Cleverness. Now, one final word for today would be plum. Oh, see, I already know, see. Like, I already know. Like, Umi shows up so much. Well, not so much, okay, fine. But I've seen it enough times that I'm like, oh yeah, I can recognize it. It's super easy. Here's the thing. I don't even have a clear idea of what the hell a plum is. Yeah, okay, for me that's just a fruit. Ciruela. Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, sometimes I need to go back to Spanish. Yeah, okay, see. Like, there's no way this is gonna stuck with me simply because the fruit itself has never stuck with me in any way. Like, it's fine. I mean, I should probably eat it. Like, it's not like I dislike the fruit. But I don't love it either, I suppose. It tastes good, it does. I just never end up buying on it. So like the problem with this word, kanji or whatever, is more so the, well, okay, cool, but in no language am I ever used to this word. Oh man. Oh man. Wait, is it umeboshi? What is umeboshi? Why does umeboshi? Are pickled brand ume fruits. Korean Japan. Salted Japanese plums. Yeah, for some reason umeboshi comes to mind. We'll try to associate. Oh, actually, you know what? I know. I know how to remember it. So from a tree, as usually when we're thinking fruit or anything plant related, we always gonna think of the tree. Again, the kanji for tree is this. It's gi. It's super simple. There are many ways to imagine it. Think about it. So just by having the tree, we know it's some kind of fruit or something related to plants. I can just think of plum. That is, I'm gonna think of this for plum is just a fruit like every other. Honestly, it tastes fine, it's okay, but I don't remember it much like every other fruit, in a way. And that for me helps, because for me plum is like, oh yeah, I guess they do exist. Right? Plum. So by having that image, it does help me in a way. It's like, it really is a fruit like just any other, like I was just talking about. I'm gonna add it to the flashcards right now. Real quick. Moment. Plum. So just like that. So as you can see, I added 5 kanji, 2 flashcards each. So that's 10 flashcards that we're gonna do tomorrow. I just learned them. I just wrote them here. Doing the flashcards right now doesn't really help me because I already know I know them. Right? So I'm gonna leave them for tomorrow. And tomorrow we can start with these. Or, you know. That's usually how I went about my studying earlier this year before I stopped. So let's write and practice the kanji a bit. And then we move on to actual words. That I like to call internet pickups. Much like every other fruit, it sure exists. Plum. In Spanish, ciruela. I know my mother ate quite a lot of those. At least in the past she used to. Oh. I mean, I guess worst case I can always associate it with this part of mom, I guess. Yeah. Okay, cool. Plum. Ciruela. Okay, so let's go to my little memo of words and let's pick up the whatever words I feel like that day. Honestly, it really is whatever words I feel like learning that day, I'll learn that day. Here it is. I found the memo. You cannot see it, but you'll see it the moment I choose the word. What do I want? Actually, let's start with Tadaku. Reach. How about that? Tadaku. Reach. Or, you know, to be delivered, to arrive in a way. Yeah, this one is so one I see quite often, and it's weird I haven't learned it yet. In fact, it was not even on my memo. What? The thing is, my memo is fucking huge on my phone. Every time I scroll down to the bottom of it to try to write a new word, it kind of lags. Because it has so many words. So it's probably around there somewhere. I just didn't see it today before starting stream. So let's learn Todoku. No, Todoku. Yo, Abby! Fun fact, right now chat is kind of half blocked by some parts on my screen. I saw the hi Dallas with the ha cat, and here was you, Abby. How's it going, my dude? Welcome. Ohayo gozaimasu. So, Todoku. To deliver, to reach, to arrive. So you make the little roof and then you make the whole thing. That's simple, honestly. And from now on, every time I see it, I'll be more familiar with it. Shout out to Professor Layden. I should do more Professor Layden on stream at some point. You can see how dumb I am again. I already did in the past. I played Professor Layton 1 and 2 full on stream. Fun times. Honestly, for Todoku, given it's how like deliver or rich, I can kind of imagine this thing almost like your entrance, right? This is your door entrance. Actually, let me do it like this entrance, and this is like your porch in a way. And you have like this little roof that doesn't really go all the way because here like there's some stairs. So this part on top of your house, right, is like this part, like this little entrance. And this, here you get delivered something, right? And then you can just think of it as your delivery, right? In a way. I'll probably learn it in a different way once I get to it on Heisig Kanji, but for now, this kind of helps me, honestly. So see why I really wanted the camera? Because I can do all this fun stuff. Like those little drawings and stuff. I even have more colors. I should probably use more colors. But for now, it's not necessary. Look. So it's the So it's not the it's Todoku. Yep. So let's add that to the flashcards, to the pickups. Usually I don't add too many internet pickups in a day. I don't add like 5 like that. To reach, to deliver. Because since it's a lot more of a brute force method, if I add too many, I will surely forget. Or to be delivered, arrive. To reach, to touch, to get to reach, yeah. Or I'm gonna write to get to as well. Usually when there are like VTubers on Twitter talking about like their merch and stuff thing, and they finally reach fans, that's, or like when someone ordered a stream or anything, they ordered something online and it got to them, they'll use this a lot, and that's why I'm quite familiar with it. Todoku. And probably I've heard it in many other places. It's a common word. It's a common place. Okay, what other word do I feel like learning today? We'll probably do like 2 more. I think I usually did 5 of Heisig Kanji and 3 of my 3 of my thing. Actually, Matsu. Let's do Matsu. Matsu. To hold, to possess, honestly. Usually, I mean, I pretty much know this kanji already. It's just a formality of saying, okay, I learned it, and it's on my flashcards. Because on the right you have the temple, as always. On the left is something that I'm not saying that radical yet on Heisig kanji. I don't know what meaning to associate to this radical. However, I've seen the verb enough itself that I think I'll be okay with it. Simply because it's similar to matsu, to wait. Right. Matsu. As you can see, this to wait. On the left, the radical thingy changed. Right, you can see it's the same thing. On the right, the temple, but on the left, it changed. So those 2 verbs are pretty common. Also, when we learned like the te form with other verbs and stuff, so matte kuru, to bring something back, or mottekimasu, right? To bring something there. Motteiku, right? Motteiku, yeah. Motteiku and mottekuru. I said to bring somewhere there, or bring something back in a way, right? So this is probably a good kanji to say, like, oh yeah, have under my belt and my arsenal. So let's do that. Also, it's important to notice this radical I'm doing right now is different from this. And it's a very important difference to make because it changes a word from, for example, neko, right, of cat, like this, to this, to draw, to write. See, it's important to know the distinction. You put them next to each other, neko, oh, kaku. So like, this is literally to draw a cat. As you can see, it's an important distinction to make. At first, the first time I was trying to learn kanji and stuff, I couldn't tell. Is this neko or kaku? What? And then I finally learned that this radical on the left, I usually associate the meaning of dogs for it. So yeah, yeah, matsu, to hold. It's looking kind of janky. Hold on. Matsu. It looks kind of janky, I feel like. But it kind of does get the point across, right? I don't know. Okay, kind of satisfied with that. And we added to the flashcards. What's it? To hold. Just having the basic meaning of to hold is good enough for me, even though it has like other nuances and like to take, to carry, and other stuff. Because I get the idea. I get the basic idea and what it's trying to convey. And finally, what do I want to learn? To turn back, to go back, halfway, to recover, right? Modoru, modoranai, modotta, modoranakatta, modotte, modoranaite, modoranaide, modoranakute. Hi. Oh, wait, huh? So here, as you can see, it only has a little tip, alright, on the top of the kanji. But on the other thing, it's telling you it's an entire line, which is weird, and I don't know which one is more correct. It kind of reminds me for EU. It's usually like this, but it's not uncommon to see EU. And so instead of a little tick, it's an actual line. I mean, to be honest, on the font, I always sit with like little tip So I think I'm just gonna remember with a little tip because it's easier for me to draw. And the after. I mean, the matsu also has the tsu afterwards, and tadaku also has the ku. Okay, so let's see. There. Then order please. Order please. There we go. I'm pretty sure I'm doing the thing right. Yep, sure. Okay. And we added to the flashcards.
やってしまったことは元に戻らない。
Oh. やってしまったこと thing like you ended up doing but in a bad way. Right? So it's basically it's like I can't undo what I've done in a way, right? Or I can't go back. Let's look at that real quick at that example. That you can undo what you've done, yes. やってしまったことは元に戻らない. So you cannot return back, right? 先に、元に先に I'm not sure. But 元 right? So the motto is like before, to return before, but it's more than a night, so you cannot return back. So you cannot do what you've done. やってしまったことは元に戻らない. Okay, cool. Interesting example. Not like I needed it. I just wanted the turn back. Yeah. To turn back. And to return, yeah, I guess. That's it. That's today's Kanji practice. Ojama shimasu. Ai-san, ohayo, or konnichiwa. Tabun. How's it going? Welcome. We just finished Kanji practice actually. I saw that message. I probably has been there for a minute. I didn't realize. Yeah. Sorry. Early morning. It's got it. What's next? Grammar. Ain't that fun? We got not that. Here, Thai creams. Grammar guide. Yay. I finished the flashcards for today, and I added a bunch of new ones. So I finally got to the point where I don't have like around 200 flashcards anymore. I only had like 14 today. So I decided to add some new words to it. Todaku, Maderu, and Matsu for the internet pickups. And Heisig kanji, well, it's stuff you've seen here, basically. Because we're learning this radical for like every. So that's pretty cool. Hold up, let me organize my desk a little bit. I said let me put my coffee away. this notebook we're gonna be using now for vocabulary words. Again, as you can see here. I'm gonna switch scenes. There we go. Before I start anything, I always like to review what we did the previous day. And honestly, before I move on to the potential form, I do personally really need to review the te form with iku and kuru. Because it wasn't fully clear to me. And because it wasn't fully clear to me, I ended up not writing it down on my notes, so I need to write it down on my notes properly. Yep. And sentences. Other uses of the te form. Oh yeah, so okay, let's see what we learned yesterday. 昨日のこと覚えましょう。te form. Where did it? There we go. Other uses of the te form. So, for endurance states, there's teiru. Right? So it describes a continuous state of an action verb. So you just add iru after the te, much like it, and you have these conjugations, right? So let's look at the table real quick. Yandeiru, reading. Yandeinai, not reading. Yandeita, I was reading. And yandeinakata. So, not reading. That's basically, it's a continuing action. In conventional Japanese, however, the E is often omitted. So, let's book example. 私は何をしてるの? 昼ご飯食べてる. That's not, then write しているの or 食べている. してる 食べてる. Cool. Very, very useful, very interesting. Then, in this case, the endurance state of being versus endurance state of action. It's basically, it's making sure you understand how this form works with shiru, for to know of, right? Because there's a difference between shirimasu, right, to know, and shirimashita. Like, basically, to learn in a way or to begin knowing, and shiteimasu, of to be in the know, in a way. So he says it may be helpful to think of it as shuru, of like to do the knowing in a way, and then to be in that state of iru, of knowing, to know. It helps me understand it that way. And then with action, with motion verbs, also the same thing, of like, when action verbs, it's different as well, because it may help to think as two separate and successive actions, to go and then to be. So for example, mo uchi ni katteiru. So the person already went home and is there, right? Saki ni itteiru. So I go on ahead and be there. Or Mie-chan wa mo kiteru yo ne. Kiteru yo. So came back and is here, right? So that's the te form with iru for like motion verbs. Tearu, so it's basically for resultant states, when something is already completed and mostly in preparation for something else. So here a quick example is 準備はどうですか? 準備はもうしてあるよ. Like the preparations are already ready. Because it's usually something ready and completed, usually wa and mo are used instead, right? Not really o or ni. Tiyaku is actually pretty fun. Basically, when you use the te form and then oku, just this little verb here, but it's running mostly in hiragana in this form. As in you're doing something in preparation for the future. So basically, for example, denchi o gatte okimasu. So I'm gonna buy batteries, right? Yeah, denchi o gatte okimasu. And it's usually in preparation in advance and thinking of the future. Right. Or like bangohan no tsukutte oku. So I'm gonna make dinner for later. So maybe it's in the morning, you have some free time before leaving to work or something, and you know you're gonna arrive late, and you just wanna get there and get dinner, so you make something quick, right? In a way. Also, sometimes abbreviated to toku for convenience. Denchi o gatte tokimasu. So instead of gatte okimasu, gatte okimasu. Okay. And then using motion verbs, iku, kuru. Is it kuru? I keep forgetting that. Kuru. Not like it matters that much, because kuru, yeah, it is kuru. It's iku, so iku, and kuru. So it's not kuru, it's kuru. Okay. Here's when I got a little bit confused, and I want to do some proper reviewing of this and make sure I get some proper notes written. So here you have the notes for tearu and teoku. And then we'll move on to like a next lesson, potential form, which I have no clue what it is, and I am looking forward to it. Potential form. Okay. So let's see. Iku and kuru with the motion verb. So you can also use the motion verbs to go and to come with the te form to show that an action is oriented toward or from some place. Okay. The most common and useful example of this verb is motsu. So motteiru, you mean holding something, but motteiku or mottekuru is also to bring there or bring something. To take something somewhere or bring something back in a way. Right, and that's the most simple. So, pitsu o gakkou e motteiku. Well, in a question, so pitsu o gakkou e motteiku, like motteiku, so just taking it there. And pitsu o uchi ni mottekuru, right? Are you bringing it home? So that it's pretty simple, right? And yes, and then here are a couple more examples. So again, let's. Otosan wa hayaku kaette kimashita. So he came back home, but it was like. See, here's what I fail a bit to understand, because it's okay. He came back home, and it's oriented towards a place in a way, right? So like, he came back home, and it was oriented to going home, right? Here's, let's see, there was eki, right? I'm pretty sure this was eki, yeah. Forget. Eki no ho e hashiteita. So, it went running to the woods, the direction. Okay. Okay, so I think if, let's say, it's helpful for me to think of kaeru only to be like going home, and when you say kaette kimasu, it's like he went and came back and he's there already, I think, in a way, right? And then the thing is, these can also be used to indicate that the thing we're heading to, in a way, with this motion verbs in the te form is a time, not necessarily a place. Or like, so let's see, 冬に入ってこと 冬に入ってコートを着ている人が増えていきます。So, winter people wearing coat will increase. Right? 増えていきます。So, like, as we go towards the winter, right, it's going to increase. So, it's not like it increases, it's like it's coming to increase in a way. Right? It's got this word, got that. 一生懸命頑張っていく。Let's just keep on 頑張っていく。So moving on, I'll be trying my hardest, right? Towards the future, 頑張っていく. Like, I'm going to try my best. I like to think of going to, right? With the of going, in a sense. I think that does help me understand a bit better. いろいろな人と付き合ってきたけど、いい人はまだ見つからない。So, with いろいろな人, with a lot of people, with, right, と付き合ってきた. So, coming to the present, right, up until now, in a way, coming to now, I went out with a lot of people, but いい人はまだ見つからない。I'm not found a... Yeah, it hasn't been found yet. So it's mitsukaru. Yeah, it's mitsukaru and not mitsukeru. Just like has not been found. If you were to say mitsukerana, it's like I'm not found in a way, right? Transitive and transitive verbs, kind of weird. Okay, coming up to now. In a way, いろいろな人と付き合ってきたけど、なるほど。日本語をずっと前から勉強してきた、結局はやめた。結局、日本語をずっと前から勉強してきた、結局はやめた。So, 日本語をずっと前から from way back about Japanese 勉強してきた。So, I was coming to study Japanese, I was, right, in a way. And eventually I quit. In a way. Because here there's a stop before our present that we're talking about. It is a little bit more confusing to me how this coming to. But I guess, since it's like the progressive form, it was like I was studying Japanese, but I eventually quit. Right, so rather than study Japanese from way back, I eventually quit. I think it helps me to understand better if I put it as I was studying Japanese. And actually, let's use some translators real quick just to make sure. I've been studying Japanese for a long time. Actually, let's put the entire... Yeah, because if you take out the 結局はやめた. I've been studying Japanese for a long time and eventually quit. Okay. Let's use Wiblio, because I also like Wiblio, just in case. 日本語と英語。日本語と... I studied... Come on. What the fuck? The book word for some time, all the time, and stopped after all. Okay. Yeah, that didn't help. I swear Wiblio sometimes can be very useful. But then it gave me he book word. I'm guessing it's because I didn't type it, I copied and pasted from somewhere else. It may have thought it was something else in a way. Okay, I think I have a better idea for this. I don't fully understand it, as in I don't think I could properly use it myself right off the bat in a way. But I think maybe in some case or another I could maybe attempt to use it. But it's one of those that I just I'm aware of its existence. I'll be able to understand it when I read it and listen it. And maybe I will not be able to fully use it properly yet, but I know. So let's write some notes, and I think I'll get better over time. Because once I learn grammar, and I finish this grammar book, I'll be able to do a lot more immersion. And at that point, I think a bunch of these concepts that are not super clear just yet will probably become clear. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. But hopefully you all also understood. So motion verbs on form. With form, I guess, yeah. So it good and good. Okay, let's write that. So it shows an action is oriented toward or from some place. This place can be abstract like time. Also, I'll put it here on chat just in case, because it wasn't super clear yesterday for me. I did find this video helpful on the situation. Toku is casual informal like anime. Where did you? Oh, you mean this Toku here? Oh yeah. It's really casual informal. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I intended to use teokimasu anyway. It's just good to know of its existence. Say, for example, if I'm trying to read a manga and they're like really casual about it. Okay, but yeah, that little things that helped me understand a bit better the teiku and tekuru. Teiku, tekuru. Yeah. Also, whenever I try to type teiku, this is just teiku. It will just the word, and I press the space bar to look for the proper thing. I'd get immediately put the katakana for take in English. Teiku. I found that kind of funny when I was trying to do some search regarding the topic. So and then I'll put matsu is commonly used with it. To take or bring something. Okay. Also, konbanwa, Butchan. Hello. How's it going? 見てくれてありがとう。愛ちゃんも、愛さんも教える。But, which I said earlier, actually everyone. みんな来てくれてありがとう。I often forget to say it because I'm so Focus and stuff. I do not want to be rude, honestly. I do appreciate the examples. If you want to use iru no, iku no, kuru no, it's natural because easier to understand is Imonbun interrogative sentence. Hi, konbanwa. Konbanwa. No, iku no, kuru no. So something like, oh, this examples you mean? Motte iku no, motte kuru no, right? Something like that. As in, like, you're going towards this place in a specific way, right? Like really oriented towards. That just sounds cute. Yes, that's the thing. I mean, you're seeking for an explanation, right? If it's on a question. I was told through this book that if you use no in a question at the end, you're just seeking for an explanation and it's neither masculine or feminine or anything. It's just kind of normal. Yeah, I'm gonna put 2 examples here. 3 examples, honestly, here. Man, I really don't like the kanji for impitsu. I'm just gonna use a good old pen in katakana. Screw the book. Pen o gakko e It's okay, also understandable, fair enough. Gakko, pen o gakko e matte iku. Okay. I could put mateku no, but yeah, sure. And here the teku. So in a way, taking pen to school. Yeah, this example does sound more natural. Are you taking the pencil or that pencil to school? Yeah. Then the お父さんは早く帰ってきました。お父さんは早く帰ってきました。There we go. O父さんは早く帰ってきました。早く。This is a very scuffed kairu, but well, anyway. 帰ってきました。帰ってきました。So, 帰ってきました。できます。Don't come back early. Wait, why not? Is that a bad thing? If I came back home. I'm just gonna write it as dad because it's shorter than father. Came back home early. And then for the time example, I need to choose one properly. Actually, I think I'm just gonna write gambatteiku. Gambatteiku. Like, going onwards, so I'm gonna try my best, right? I like that. Examples. Gambatteiku. Yeah, I'm not gonna write ishokkenmei, okay? I'm not. Screw you. Simply because I don't really want to write the gen part. Ishokkenmei. Try hard. Try. Ishokkenmei game wo ganbarimasu. I don't know why my gambatte, gambaru and all that always comes out very tiny, very scuffed. Gambatte iku. Okay, so gambatte iku. I realized I did all my examples with teiku and not tekuru, but I understand. See, that much I understand the teiku and tekuru, the difference between like going and coming and all that. I understand. I try my best toward the future. In a way. That's why the teiku is there. Let's highlight so the plasiku and tekuru. Just like that, we have some solid notes that I cannot show because I will throw off the camera again. God damn. Okay, so let's learn more stuff, or now that the teiku and tekuru form is a bit more clear to me. Potential form. Okay, what is this? In Japanese, the ability to do a certain action is expressed by conjugating the verb rather than adding a word such as the words can or able to. In the case of English, all verbs conjugated into the potential form become root verb. So can or able to in the case of English. All verbs conjugated into a potential form become a root verb. I can read English. So as usual, let's look at the vocabulary first before doing anything, just so that if anything hard comes up during the examples, we don't have to be interrupted at all. All stars. So, 見る、遊ぶ、する、来る、できる。Yeah, I know できる。食べる、着る、信じる、寝る、着る、出る、かける。I did another one. 調べる、話す、書く。This is yeah, okay. I'm only reading, looking at the kanji. I'm not even looking right. 書く、待つ、飲む、取る、take. I should know that one. 死ぬ、go, kanji. Kanji no kanji, 知らなかった。Ironic, really. 残念. This was I was kind of familiar with. I'll write it down on the book just in case. 今週末行くも。 Okay. There's a couple of here, I don't know. Mirisuru, guru dekiru, taberu, kiru, shinjiru, deru, deru. Here. Kakeru. Yeah. So. Kakeru. Kakeru. It's not kakeru or kakeru. It's kakeru. Kakeru. It's not kakeru either. It's kakeru. Kakeru. Okay. Okay. Any other meaning? Holy crap! I was scrolling for so much. Okay. To hang up. To let hang. To suspend. To hoist. To put on. To put on. To make a call. To spend. To pour liquid. Sprinkle, to put, turn on, to set, to cause, to multiply, to secure, to take a seat, to sit, to rest, to bind, to wiggle, to bet, to put an effect, to hold an emotion for, to argue, to deliberate, to cross forward, to catch, to set atop, to erect, to apply, to pen, to I died. Jeez. What a word. I don't think this is the last we've seen of this word. I just have an inkling, a little bit of feeling. Thankfully, writing it is very simple. In fact, I don't even need to scroll down because I already know all these radicals. Kakeru. Okay. I should not separate it like that. Okay. I get it. You remember one by one, it never ends. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna remember it. I'm just gonna. What the best way I've been taught to learn kanji is that you should learn the reading and meaning in a context. So in this case, to hang, it's probably going to mean to like hang a cloth or something, right? Somewhere. And I'll be learning it in that context. And then if I see this word again and that reading and context don't apply, I will learn that as well, and I'll put it on top, right? And I'll start remembering. But for now, there's no point in trying to remember all the potential meanings and stuff, when a couple of those are probably going to be more common than others. If not, it's just an overall concept that you start to understand better, if anything. Kind of like ki. Like, what is ki? Well, that is a concept that you eventually get better at understanding. Because that's, again, it's not in any other language. So, it's kakeru. So, yeah. For you, kakeru is just hang. See, except that's it. There's no need to see all the other potential meanings. To hang. Yeah, I got it. Since we're talking about a verb, the to is implicit, at least for me. Shiraberu, hanasu, kaku, matsu, actually, my bad. Namu, toru, to take. I think this is, it is toru. It is toru. To take, to pick, to grab. Okay. How long am I gonna have to scroll for? Also, I don't really need to scroll because it's just Mimi and the other legs thingies. Honestly. Bam. I did it. It looks kind of scuffed and tiny because it's this layout. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. Same thing, honestly. But yeah, to take. Okay. Then we have Shinugao, Kanji. Kanji and Sannen are probably good ones to remember. Yeah, actually, we talked a little bit about Sannen the other day when I was talking about Nen or Nen no Tameni, right? To do something in case of or like just as a precaution. So, kanji. Well, the second one for kanji I already know because it's the kanji for character. 残念。そうね。悲しいこと。残念。Actually, I wanted to do kanji first. Kanji. So I always say kanji, but it's more like kanji. In a way, right? Kanji. Yeah, I don't really need this one. This one is water, the thing on top, then that. Okay. This little part is good to know where the square two lines and then all over them. It makes sense. It does make a lot of sense. Okay, it looks a little bit scuffed, but it's fine. And then the other is just character. And it's kanji. Do you know the hidden meaning of no? It just says, in China. I usually don't go too in depth when I'm just looking at vocabulary for real man among men, real man. Interesting. Huh. That's kind of cool. Interesting. That's very curious. Honestly, there's no other way I can write kanjis. Kanji is kanji. Kanji wa kanji. それだけ。別の意味、他の意味はない。To say other, other. 他の意味はない。ただの漢字。はい、残念。残念。そう。残念。Yep, so small. Oh. Yeah, I've already. Yeah, sure. Okay, that's very, very simple then. Oh, again, it looks a little bit scuffed because it's my first time joining, okay? When I say it's simple, I mean it's just the radicals are intuitive, which they are. Sun. And then, unfortunate. Yeah, okay, cool. Now that we have all of that vocabulary under our belts, we can look at the lesson and see the examples uninterrupted. So again, we're saying the potential form in terms of to be able or to do, the ability to do something. So I can finally say that I am unable to properly speak Japanese. Hey, let's see how I'd say that. Once again, the conjugation rules can be split into three major groups: do verbs, verbs, and exception verbs. However, the potential form of the verb suru, meaning to do, is a special exception because it becomes a completely different verb, dekiru. Yes, so to be able to do just becomes dekiru. Naruhodo. So for do verbs, we'll replace deru with rareru, miru, mirareru. Shaberu, shabere. So no, shaberu is verb. So let's not get confused. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, shall we? Miru, mirareru, taberu, taberare. So taberu, taberareru. 食べられる。it's a bit of a mouthful. られる。But, 食べられる。Yeah, られる。It's 見られる。食べられる。Yeah, I cannot think of many other examples. For U verbs, change the last character from a U vowel sound to the equivalent E vowel sound and add る。So, 遊ぶ、遊べる。遊ぶ、遊べる。話せる。喋れる。Is it? Because if it's no. Yeah. 喋れる。Whatever. So 話せる。Yeah, I already did that example. 飲める。Right, Dan? 飲める。Right? 言える。To say, right? Okay. する becomes できる。来る becomes 来られる。So it's no longer with く it's with go. Much like 来ない。来られる。Remember that all potential verbs become る verbs. Oh, so once you do the potential form, if you were to conjugate that afterwards for something else, it's a ru verb. Oh my god, this song is amazing. Departure. So good. Anyway, この曲大好き。No. Departure と呼ぶ I think. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at the example. Oh, actually, sample ru verbs. So, いい曲です。そうですよね。ゲームもすごく楽しいと思います。I'm pretty sure I just anyway 食べる食べられる着る着られる着られる信じる信じられる寝る寝られる起きる起きられる寝る寝られるかけるかけられる調べる調べられるgotchu みたいIt's gotchu, right? For a tongue twister. Twister. Is that like gotchu? Like, come on, what the? Yeah. Whatever. And now for U verbs, which is what interests me because it has the A change. So, 話せる。書く書ける遊ぶ遊べる待つ待ってる飲む飲めるSo this one just earlier 取る取れる死ぬ死ねる買う買えるする becomes できる and 来る becomes 来られるIt is also possible to just add れる instead of the full られる for ru verbs. Example, 食べる becomes 食べれる instead of 食べられる. I suggest learning the official られる conjugation first because laziness can be a hard habit to break, and the shorter version, though common, is considered to be slang. なるほど。漢字は書けますかBecause it becomes かける it's a ru verbs and the stem becomes かけ and then we add mas for the mas form かけますか残念だが今週末は行けないもう信じられない Okay, this phrase does ring a bell shinjirarenai, as in like, I can't believe it. Yeah, I've heard that one quite a bit. I've seen that one quite a bit. Okay. So let's make some cool little notes before learning that I mean, we could keep going before writing notes. There are so many exceptions. Actually, let's go through the whole lesson for now. No, it's fine. Let's make notes of this and then we keep going through the lesson. We're gonna see all of the potential forms and all of those exceptions soon enough. Also, sorry for keep changing position and camera angle and stuff, but you gotta understand I've been sitting here for 2 hours after waking up. So, new lesson. In the meantime, have some sick Ace Attorney music or remix. I feel like it's a bit loud now, but whatever, since I'm gonna be taking notes and be fairly quiet anyway. So, the ability to do a certain action is expressed by conjugated the verb. Here are the conjugations, so I don't need to highlight anything. Potential form. I think this is probably the best thing to keep on stream while I take notes. Actually, whee. There we go. So the ability to do something is expressed conjugating a verb. By conjugating verbs, actually, I'm just gonna prepare whatever. Okay. So let's put here a basic conjugation. So for ru verbs, ru becomes rareru. As much of a tongue twister that we do. I mean, I say it's a tongue twister, but when I saw shinjirareru, shinjirarenai, it actually was like intuitive. Like I've seen it before enough times that it's like, oh yeah, of course, right? Of course. It probably makes more. It's probably less of a tongue twister when the ru is conjugated. Shinjiraremasen, right? Shinjiraremasen, right? Objection! Ikiari! I love it every time. It gets me every time. It gets me hyped. I cannot help it, chat. Cannot help it. Those games are too good. Verbs. Yeah, verbs. So report equals equivalent plus do. So here we'll put as a simple note. Resultant verbs are always all rhuverbs. Rhuverbs. I keep saying rhuverbs instead of rhuverbs because I keep going in between English and Japanese, and at some point while taking notes, those things kind of happen. Not bad. Rhuverbs. It's kind of like have a little switch inside my brain, and was like Nihongo mode, and then I switch as English mode, and then you mess with it and you get the modo español. I don't even know what I'm saying, dude. Languages are quite something. So, urareru and the equivalent plus 3. Then well, on the example verbs, so the exception verbs rather, right? So let's zoom in. Whoa, it's not so much. Okay, yeah, sure, whatever. How many verbs do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3. Okay. I'm deciding how to organize my notes. Don't worry about it. Can you not do that? Thanks. I think I'm gonna actually end up using the example Shinji Rareru. And I'm gonna be switching between red and blue, much like it's doing on this book. So clear notes. Again, we go slowly, but I end up in some phenomenal notes that I can just give anyone, and they can learn Japanese with it. Shinji. My Shinji, that's like a little bit scuffed, but don't worry about it. Oh, now it's looking even more scuffed. Shinji, Rareru. Yeah, oh, so it's not gonna look nearly as well on camera because the red is not as clear. Actually, let's do something real quick. I don't think it helps much, but I always do it every day. I just happen to forget today. Oh well. Again, the main focus right now is the grammar and the book, and not my note taking, because it's just a book. Let's see, what verbs do I want to use? It's funny because we do kao and then it becomes kaeru, which is almost like the actual verb kaeru. But I'm assuming this is for kao, it's kaeru and not kaeru, right? So that's where the distinction is, I'm assuming. And because it checks it. It's a cool thing, or rather intonation, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, let's put Hanasu. Hanasu. In fact, actually, speaking of projections, I'm pretty sure I have something that allows me to cheat. Something like that. Yes. So I have, like, this is a quick, so let me show you. This is a little chart I found in a way for like a pitch accent on like the verbs and its conjugations. Which would be what? This is the potential form, potential. Yeah, and it depends on the proper verb itself. Damn. Actually, never mind. I give up. I don't care that much about pitch accent. I just want to mind it enough. But like looking at those conjugations and stuff makes. That's probably confused me more than it should. Right now, the point is not to know properly the pitch accent and stuff. It's just to be able. Stuff. But from what I see, this stress probably goes on the A part, right? So, kakeru. For gaku, kakeru, right? Something like that. Okay. I butchered my notes. No. Yeah, let's do Matsu Materu. Matsu. Materu. For a moment there I was thinking, oh, I guess it's surprising it's not mate, but mate is just the te form. Materu. Yeah, I don't know why it, anyway. Let's continue, continue. Yeah, let's continue. Time, space, continuum, right? Goddamn. I cannot talk today, I suppose. What was that verb? Toru. Kaeru. So kaeru, for example, it would be kaereru, right? Because it's kaeru, ru for re, kaereru. Right? Yes. Much like toru. Let's just write toru. It's fine. Toru. Oh man, my Mimi looks very scuffed. Okay, now that looks nicer a little bit. Oh wait. Yeah, sure, whatever. The final example, I suppose. I'm gonna, instead of saying gao, I'm gonna say you. and then it'd be 言える。So if someone says 言えない it's not that they won't say, it's that they can't say. But if they say 言わない it's that they won't say. So 言えない 言わない Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. See, things come to... I like it. I like learning stuff. So, you, E, and I. Well, it's, in this case, ieru, but... and then the exception verbs that are right here. Asuru, dekiru. It's shown here, dekiru without the kanji, which I'm assuming usually is written with hiragana anyway, with kana. Or both, I guess. I don't know. It's fairly simple for me to recognize it anyway, regardless of if it's written in kanji anyway or not. So I'm not gonna fret over it. If I know the kanji, maybe, but suru becomes my ru always looks like very tall and very thin instead of like an actual ru. Naniが散った？あ、なんか聞こえた。あ、え？なんで？あれ？何やった？あ？外かな？わからない。まあ、続けましょう。Was probably nothing important. I heard something. I think something fell, but I guess not. Okay, that looks like a much more decent guru. I mean, uru instead of this uru. Again, it also may be because I'm running out of space. It's like my hand is already on the lamp. I'm gonna hit the camera off. Kurareru. Wow, that looks very scuffed. Shout out Super Persona 4. Yet again. Good at it. And then we write examples down. Woo! For the examples, I just switch back to this. Honestly. Okay, so kanji wa kakemasu ka? と 残念だが今週末は行けない。もう信じられない。I like examples 1 and 2 because it has a do verb, one that I'm very familiar with, and then an verb conjugated in a different way. I like it. So examples. So I could very well say 私は漢字は actually no. So 漢字を書けます。Let's say like okay. Let's just say 漢字は書けます right? Because I can write kanji. But if I would say 書けません, it'd be I can't, right? But I can't, so I 書けます。日本語で話せない。話せない。Right. That'd be it. Or 話せません。Or 喋れる。The fact that, yeah, those ru and then verbs, like, 喋る, that then get 喋る, so it's 喋れる, 喋れません。日本語を喋れません。Right? I think that's correct. 書けますか? Suck, shaburu. Wait, did it sound too much like suck? Or just tried to teach me words like hentai, like yesterday? And then the other example is まあ信じられない。まあ信じられない。I can't believe it already. Or I'd say something like more, I can't believe it anymore in a way, right? Or something. I think it depends on the context and not much of other things, right? But I can't believe it. Believe it. Believe more or already? In a way. I don't know. I get the meaning. I really do. Aren't those magnificent notes? Okay, I'll stop. Okay, now that we've made sure we understand the potential form and its conjugations, let's see some more important things. Potential forms do not have direct objects. So let's look at the vocabulary real quick. Fujisan, Naboru, Omoi, Nimotsu, Motsu. So 1, 2, and 4, I don't know. Thankfully 4 is super easy, and I don't have to look it up. Fujisan mo kantan. Yeah, I guess it's only Noboru. Noboru. Correct. Noboru. Noboru. Okay. Anyway, let's try Fuji-san. Fuji. Actually, is that the proper order for Yama? So you start in the middle, but then do this and this. Okay, okay. Hold on. Should have got that. Shiramasandashita. Shiramakata just sounds so much easier, but I Shiramasandashita. Fine. If I'm trying to speak properly, I should probably just go more. So, Mount Fuji. And I'll expect to be writing the kanji for Mount Fuji today, but here am I. And then okay. So this little roof thingy is a bit less intuitive than I'd like to, at least for me, for now. But the parts below are easy. Okay. On my notes, it looks very, very scuffed, but don't worry about it. About it. So which is to climb. And then finally we have Nimatsu for baggage. Baggage, package, Nimatsu. So it's not Nimatsu, it's Nimatsu. Thankfully this seems like very, very easy. Actually, hold up. What is the knee part? Baggage, shoulder, baggage thing. Of course it is. God damn it, Japanese. I'm not surprised at all because I really knew the kanji from Mono. So like I saw it coming, but the moment I was proven right, I was like, well, fine. Yeah, baggage. Omoi, heavy, matsu to hold. Yeah. So the potential form indicates that something is possible, but no actual action is actually taken. Well, the potential form remains a verb since it is describing the state of something you must not use the direct object, or as you have done there with regular verbs. For the example, the following sentences are incorrect. Yeah, so Fujisan no noboreta, you're trying to say I was able to climb Mount Fuji, but that's not how it's written. It'd be properly Fujisan ga noboreta. Okay. 重い荷物を持ってます。But instead it should be 重い荷物は持ってます。持っている、持ってます。なるほど。Like, I feel like music today is a bit louder than usual, but hopefully it's still okay. So potential form do not have direct objects. Potential forms, there we go, do not have direct objects. Since it's describing the state of something, you might not use the direct object though. Okay. Let's describe the state of something, you might not use the direct object though. I'm just gonna write you must not use, or simply because it barely fits in here. Then we put an example of something that's correct and something that's not. And then we'll look at the other two exceptions. I prefer the Fujisan example. So we'll use that. As much as I don't like the kanji for noboru. Fuji-san. Oh. Which is incorrect, but we're writing to correct ourselves in a bit. Noboreta. So this right here is incorrect. It should instead be this. Fujisan ga noboreta. So, was able to climb Fuji, yeah. Mount Fuji. Cool. Okay. So now with that clear, let's look at the vocabulary for the next part real quick. To make sure we know. 見える、聞こえる。今日晴れる。To be sunny. Isn't that just aoi with a little bit of sun on the left? It is, isn't it? It is. I guess it makes sense, huh? For a sunny day, you have the sun and the bright blue sky. なるほど。富士山、友達、おかげ。Yes, thanks to. 映画、ただ、見ることできる。久しぶり。彼、声、聞く。周り、うるさい。You, あんまり、あんまり。Ah, we know all of those. Ain't that cool? Well, I know all of those. So knowing that, we can move on to the C. Do you remember to say, Mochiron? Well, the kanji, yeah, actually after the story, yes. The problem is the fly kanji is kind of hard to, you know, 5月は簡単やけど、so うるさい。Let's, yeah, this one. How am I supposed to remember this one? Well, it's mushi on it's the rice field, and the other one is Isil. To be fair, it's kind of simple. It's just I need to memorize it. I need to add it to flashcards or something, right? Because the mushy part is super easy and it makes sense, and the right part is also okay. In fact, I could probably memorize it myself, just thinking of two right fields and thinking for the countryside or something, and because that's where flies really are. And then I could try to imagine the little final radical there as me with my fly killer thing. You know, it's like this thing that you just slap real fast. You know the thing, right? I cannot describe it. In Spanish it's called matamoscas, literally fly killer. Yes, that. Oh man, this used to be my favorite toy during spring. I got really good at killing flies. And then there were a lot of tiny little fly corpses all over the sofa, and I got yelled at. Ain't that fun? Also, you used to. Damn. I have no other words for that other than damn. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick little break. すぐ戻ります。ちょっと待ってください。Yeah, I'll be right back. See you in a bit. ただいま I'm back, guys. Okay, cool. Took a little break. Good to continue. For like, おかえり、ありがとう。はい、続きましょう。皆さん。はい、見えると、聞こえる。Are they exceptions? 調べみましょう。Let's investigate it. Let's see, right? Let's learn. Okay, so there are two verbs, 見える and 聞こえる. That means something that is visible and audible. Especially when you want to say that you can see or hear something. You'll want to use these verbs. I can read in English properly, okay? If, however, you wanted to say that you were given the opportunity to see or hear something, you would use the regular potential form. However, in this case, it is more common to use the type of expression as seen in example 3. Oh yeah, actually, I didn't know hareru to be sunny. Oh well. I just immediately realized that I don't know hareru. But that is pretty simple. Let's add it real quick because it's just sun and blue. でしょ? So, then to be sunny. I'm a big fan of the kanji. Kanji. I'm a big fan of the kanji. Just sun and blue. It really makes you like I picture the sunny day itself. It's awesome. I love it. Anyway, so 今日は晴れて it is, so it's 晴れる る verb 晴れてでしょる verbs そうですよ。どうだい？いいと思います。いっぱい勉強しましたから、4日目、4日目、なるほど。Yeah, okay. I didn't know that one. Thank you. ありがとう。はい。4日目。そうですよ。いっぱい勉強しました。いっぱい。To learn, how would it be? To learn. Is it really to near? No, to learn. 学ぶ。そう、学びました。Really? To study, to learn? Is it really? Oh well. はい、4日目。はい。なるほど。ありがとう。Let's look at the examples real quick. So, there are two verbs. Okay. So, 今日は晴れて、富士山が見える。It cleared up today and 富士山 is visible. Okay. 友達のおかげで映画はただで見られた。Yeah. It's more like study. Yeah. So like I wanted to say something like we studied a lot and we learned a lot. Right. In a way. いっぱい勉強しましたって、しまして、いっぱい覚えました or something. I don't know. Someday I'll be able to properly put my thoughts into Japanese. たくさん勉強しました。たくさん、which is the verb I just probably 学びました。はい。 たくさん勉強しまして、たくさん遊びました。Because if I wanted to say an, I'd be using the te form, right? Okay, cool. なるほど。Cool. Not exactly. When I want to use that, there's more of a pause. A casual link, yeah, kind of like okay, let's go through the notes real quick yet again. Shall we? Compound sentences for a sequence of verbs that just kind of like connecting them in a way for and in section, right? Something like 今日の朝起きて朝ごはん食べて配信しました Something like that, right? I woke up, I ate breakfast, and I streamed in a way. Well, assuming all in 敬語来まして朝ごはん食べまして配信しました It's very overused. So is it really wrong for me to use like te in such a way to like too many different persons? I mean, no, because I'm just using te here. I'm not combining te with like the other ways. Like we saw the many other ways to use te for teru, tearu, teoku, teiku, tekuru. we saw all of that. Overburned. Yeah, I mean, we saw the different ways we can use the te form with other things. Here I'm just using it by itself. And I thought it was okay. I still kind of think it is. You have minutes incorrect? Okay. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. That's fair. Oh well. To me, the thing is, I'm just taking things at face value as I see them. Like, oh, it has this function. Okay, it has this function. Okay, sure, I'll learn it. I'm just kind of taking a lot of input. I'm not gonna put any opinion on, oh yeah, it's used too much, it's not used nearly enough, or anything. Like, okay, sure. If you're telling, if the book or like the internet and it's telling me, oh, this is how the Nihongo works, I'll be like, okay, sure. I'll note it down and I'll just learn it. Benkyushite, they're used as an imperative. Yeah, I'm not seeing that just yet, right? I believe. Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm not seeing yet. There's one polite way to say Benkyushiro. Yeah, so I know that one day and ro for like, but I'm not properly seeing it on grammar yet. I've just heard it so much that I get the meaning. More like, for example, whenever I say I want to do something, the tai, right? Benkyushitai. Benkyushitaku nakatta, right? Anyway, so, VTuber の配信もいっぱい見ましたから、ただのアニメじゃない。Stuff like that, yeah. Yeah. It's not only anime, okay? I've also consumed a lot of other media in Japanese. ゲームや VTuber やアニメや漫画やOkay, what were we at? Okay, let's just So, 見える、聞こえる exceptions. I just want to do that real quick, just so I can timestamp it better later on the archive. Two verbs, 見える and 聞こえる. That means that something is visible and audible, respectively. When you want to say that you can see or hear something, you want to use these verbs. If, however, you wanted to say that you were given the opportunity to see or hear something, you would use the regular potential form. However, in this case, it's more common to use the type expression as in example 3. 今日は晴れで富士山が見える。友達のおかげで映画はただで見られた。友達のおかげで映画をただで見ることができた。見ることができた。見ることができた。Okay, let's see. You can see that example 3 uses the generic noun koto for an event to say literally the event of seeing 映画をただで見ること. So the event of seeing the movie is able to be done. Yeah. So the event of the movie to see for free, right? 映画 so ただで映画を見ること right? So for free to watch the movie, the thing about that ができた was able to. So the event of seeing the movie was able to be done, but essentially means the same thing as 見られる. You can also just use the generic noun substitution to substitute for こと。友達のおかげで映画をただで見るのができた。There are some more examples using 聞く that you can tell. Can you tell the difference? Notice that 聞こえる is always means audible and never able to ask. なるほど。久しぶりに彼の声が聞けた。なるほど。周りがうるさくて周りはうるさくて彼は言っていることがあんまり聞こえなかった。Okay. Buena la esto. 久しぶりに彼の声が聞けた。So it's 聞ける、聞けた。And then 聞こえる、聞こえた。So it's basically making a difference between 聞く and 聞こえる. That's why to hear and 聞こえる. To be heard, to be able. Oh, I mean. To hear, yeah, 聞く to hear and 聞こえる is to be able to hear. So it's not 聞ける, right? Much like we just saw here. It's 聞こえる. Oh my. Now my PDF viewer crashed. Damn. Sometimes it hasn't done this in a week. Literally crashed once. Day 1 of studying. And now it crashed again. Awesome. I love it. In the middle of important learning over here. Can you not crash, please? 大事な勉強していますから、please don't crash. I don't give up on trying to say that in Japanese. Okay, I do want like my highlights to be saved. Thank you very much. Those are an important part of my notes. 見える So it's not miru, it's mieru. So it's not koeru and kikoeru. It's not. So it's not miru. So miru, it's not mireru, but mieru. And it's not kikeru, it's kikoeru. Basically. So mieru and kikoeru is the something is visible and audible, and then when you're using the potential form for kiku and miru, it's something so here is using mieru, right? Mieru is visible, and then was able to watch is mirareta, but it's more common to use miru koto ga dekita. So the thing about watching, it was possible. Okay, I won't do that. Is it not more common? It's way too indirectly. Yeah, okay, but is it common? It's Japanese, just overall more indirectly. See, that's because in my case, I probably won't use it either. Yeah, like in my personal case, simply because of the way my thoughts are structured, and I think it would be hard for me to say something so indirect. But learning a language does help me. I know that. Do you want me to say it? Why do you want me to say it? Yeah, it's well, it depends on the levels. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking of aishiteiru, but that's more like much more heavier. Yeah. Whenever there's something like koto ga suki desu, I think more of like a like in a way, not love, but it's just the way I see it. Yeah. For a confession, gokuhaku no toku ni sonna o tsukaimasu. Kimi no koto ga daisuki. Suki desu. Well, daisuki desu mo it also works. Compare, huh? Yeah. I like you. I love you. Yeah. It's more a verb. But then again, that also has to do with ski being an adjective in Japanese and stuff. Yeah, okay, so here's some more examples of kiku. Can you tell the difference? Hisashiburi ni kare no koe ga kiketa. So kikoeru is to be able to hear in terms of like an environment and stuff and like volume, right? But kikeru is to be able to hear it at all in terms of like it was not possible for you to do a thing, maybe because that person was like far away. You can establish communication in one way or another. Yeah. Be able to be heard. That's a good way to put it. I think I'll put that in my notes. That's a good way to put it. Oh, by the way, it says while you're here, do you still have the Hanabi roll in Timbian? Because I want to play Hanabi. Hanabi yaritai. To be imperfective. I don't know, dude. I'm just over here learning, and you throw those words at me, I don't know. You think you do, okay. If not, I'll try to ping you personally, I guess. I was thinking sometime next week big, like Hanabi night. 花火はそうこのゲーム、はい、カードゲーム。You played a few weeks ago? Nice. You're free until New Year's. Yo, same. このゲームは楽しい。Still can't find a job. Feels bad, man. Good luck getting one, dude. Wish you the best. Oh, I should also look for a job myself. The problem is I don't have a bank account yet. So it's kind of hard for them to deposit me any money if I don't have a bank account. So, anyway. Let's put the examples 1, 2, and 1 and 2. I don't have a lot of space. Did you just move? Yes, I did, like a month ago. Except, I say a month ago, the problem is I had to do quarantine for 2 weeks, so like 2 weeks ago, basically. 今はカナダに行っています。I'm in Canada now. I'm living, right? Is that how you say 行っています? Something like that. Not sure. I was thinking about saying it the other day as I was walking down the street. And I kind of forgot what conclusion I arrived at. Uh, どこに引っ越しました？どの国？ That's good, right? カナダ。日本語でカナダはカナダでしょ？カナダ、はい。今はカナダにいます。行っています。寒い寒い。まあね、昨日はいっぱい雪を God damn, what? I was able to put it on screen? Wild. 雪を降れた。降る try to 降りました。はい。昨日いっぱい雪を降りました。寒い。まあ、この部屋に寒くない。暖かい。だって、there's a heating system and I cannot say that in Japanese. Screw you. Did I put this even on the screen? Delete, please. Die. Thanks. 雪が降りました。はいはいはい。この部屋は寒くない。そうですよ。寒くないです。I can also say 寒くありません but that's way too stiff. はい。この部屋は、can I not say この部屋に? Actually, yeah, I guess it'd be... Because I was trying to say like, in this room it's not room, but I guess... I guess I was trying to be implicit and be like, yeah, I'm not trying to say that this room is not cold. I was trying to say that being in this room is not cold, but I did it implicitly. As in, I admitted it. So something, it'd be something like that. この部屋にいますから寒くないです。But I omitted it. Was that not proper? Is that not something I can say? Yeah, no, but again, it's what I just explained. この部屋にいますから寒くないです。It's weird. Yeah, I guess. If it's not natural, sure. この部屋は寒くない。はいはい。 Okay. My bad. We'll keep it in mind. Thank you. ありがとう。部屋の中は寒くないです。そうそうそう。Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, that's fair. Gotcha. なるほど。That's also weird. That's also weird. So yeah, just この部屋は寒くないです。That's it. That'd be like the more natural way to say it. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. By studying a lot and not putting out a lot of output, or like not taking enough input in a way, you can just say things that are probably grammatically correct, but it's not said in everyday stuff, and it does come out as stiff or weird. Which is why I want to eventually just finish this book and go out there in the wild and do nothing but play, read, interact, talk constantly until I properly know the language. You know? BR なんだそれ BR って何ですかサポールWhy are you bringing up Brazil? Let's get making nuts. Actually, I'll make a side note down here. I don't think I need to explain way too much. But then again, Aru is also an exception. Yeah, I'll make a... Oh, no, dude, but... Yeah, I know there's a big community in Brazil. No, dude, the internet fucking exists, my guy. I think I'll be okay. Come on. In fact, that's part of the reason why I started this stream, in a way. Right. You know, 日本人ともっと話したいから配信しました。だって、練習しなきゃうまくにならない。Something like that. Those sort of forms I'm not seeing yet. Neither the die for one to or the one to have to do or something. I just kind of, from what I've heard, a lot. So hopefully that came out okay. 見えると聞こえる。Exceptions. 見事です。ありがとう。はいはい。知ってた。Yeah, because that's kind of common, like anime or something, where they're like, "Oh, damn, you did like something incredible," I suppose, right? Like the main character usually and stuff. Let's put here exceptions. Exceptions and extra notes, really. I'm gonna put here a small thing of mieru versus mi. So it's mireru versus mieru. Mireru tai mieru. So mireru is more something of like the possibility to see in a way, right? The possibility to see the movie for free, or the possibility to, I don't know, see someone's hair. Imagine in another country you have a friend that they cut their hair or something, right? Mieru is to be able to see more in a way, like because this clouds are blocking it or something in a way, right? That something is visible and audible. So mireru is more of be able to see yourself, and mieru is more that is visible. Okay. So, mieru is expresses that something is visible, really. I don't know how to write expresses. It is with double S. Cool, thank you. Sometimes those things do come up in English. スペイン人だから時々英語も damn, I've lost. I knew how to say it. I knew what I was trying to say in Japanese, but yeah, 英語も知らないことはあります。時々。From time to time, there's stuff in English that I also don't know. Something like that, in a way. I'm not really for a specific way of saying it. It's just sometimes I do have to look up some things in English. I was like, yeah, because I'm Spanish, sometimes things in English I have to look up, or I don't know, or you know, something that kind of expresses that sentiment in a way. And I had a way I wanted to say it, but then I lost track of it completely. Like I had a brain fart, basically. Something is visible. 時々英語に知らないこともあります。そう。ありがとう。Not really confident. I think it gets the point across. I think. Right? 多分それはいいと思います。まあ、あんまり日本語を知らないから、I don't know. Because, yeah. You just kind of grew up. Yeah, that's the thing. So it's a lot of feel and stuff. So I'm doing the opposite. I'm doing a lot of grammar, and then I'll get more of a feel for it, which is exactly how I learned English. As a kid growing up in school, they teach you a lot of grammar, they teach you a lot of stuff, but it's not until I decided to start streaming 4 years ago and talking with English people like 7 years ago, or Americans and stuff. 6 years ago that I started picking up things. And nowadays I'm very confident in my English because I've been immersed in it for the past like 5 years at least. So that's gonna be the idea for Japanese. I'm gonna try to go through the grammar. I'm gonna say as fast as possible, not in terms of trying to hurry up, because as you can see, I'm not hurrying up at all because I'm making very good detailed notes. I'm trying to fully understand the concept, but more so in the terms of like studying every day consistently, keeping up with it, and not dropping it anyway. In that terms, I'm trying to speedrun it and go fast. in a way, right? So that's the idea. Because it bothers me you keep dropping the language and the grammar, because I consume so much Japanese media anyway, with VTubers and streams and anime and games, that if only I had properly learned the grammar like 3 years ago, I've been already starting to immerse myself much better from the get-go, and my Japanese would be so much better. And nowadays that pisses me off, which is what's driving so much of this study nowadays. There's no way I can convey any of those thoughts in Japanese yet, so 日本語のことをうまくになりたい。真面目のビブですね。なんでビブって何ですかVive? Right? Is it not vive? So, because weave. Oh, weave. Yeah, the U with the little thing. Oh my god. I don't even know weave this in there. Soかもしれない。まあね。I cannot deny it. So it is a banger, Abby, isn't it? Man, this playlist from OC Remix are fantastic. If you don't know the website, actually, let me get it for you real quick. Overclock Remix. This website is fantastic. That's from where I play the music. You can search by games or console and stuff. It's pretty good. I'm pretty sure it's like free to use. I'm not really concerned about getting copyright strikes from OC Remix. I just kind of show the love of the community. Man is learning Japanese. Lactose intolerable. Welcome to the stream. 来てくれてありがとう。そうですよね。日本語を勉強しています。How's it going, bros? Well, we're doing pretty good. We've had some pretty interesting talks. You know. 調子はどうですか? Oh, the rhythm, in a way. The pace? Is that what you're trying to say? よくわかりません。調子のこと。It's just like, fine, how's it going? Oh, okay. Well, it's interesting. Yeah, there's no way I can get slang. I can get some slang, like, I don't know, yabakune or some dumb stuff, but like, if you get to that point, Kanji don't complete, you're not good at Japanese. No, I see. Fair enough. In fact, I'm kind of going slower than I'd like, because I put some emphasis in kanji and stuff. No, doki doki, 変なことをします。そうそう。Yeah, 見える versus 見れる。Yeah. We do get kind of sidetracked a little bit here and there. This book. So, これは最近の本。そう。This is very, very good. This is the resource. Everything is basically in that website. It's fantastic. This is Taikim's grammar guide. It's very, very good. I've been using it all the time. It teaches you Japanese grammar on. It's making you build bases in a way. trying to learn everything slowly but surely. So it's not gonna give you like phrases like Genki, right? The Genki books will just straight up teach you, here's how you say ohayo, and for formal it's ohayo gozaimasu. In fact, this is gonna teach you, okay, here's how nouns work, here's how adjective works, and here's how like polite form work, right? Stuff like that. For example, ittakimasu. It's a cool phrase to know, but then you realize it's the te form of iku, itte, and then you're adding the kuru form, the kuru, but then you're making it polite, kuru, and you're doing te kuru, as in you're going to do something and come back, ittakimasu. You want some grammar in your life? Yeah, it's good. It's cool. I'm a big fan of grammar as well. So stuff like that. So I know ittakimasu because obviously if you watch some anime or anything, you'll eventually pick it up. But now I completely understand what it means, which is I'll go and I'll come back, like properly. Ittakimasu. Ittakimasu no imi chanto wakarimasu. Wakatteimasu. Also the deimasu, deiru form was fantastic to learn, honestly. Mireru. It's more to express the ability to see something. Okay, the way I'll put it is that mireru is more the visibility of something, and mireru is the ability to see something. So visibility versus ability to see. そうですよね。私は6万レグスの RTA 時々をしています。します。はい。I speedrun Battle Network, the Battle Network series. Soon in this channel, my evenings. As you can see, the time is on the top. I will do speedruns of Mega Man Battle Network. In particular, we're gonna be rerouting and working on making much faster Battle Network 2. Follow, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah. So we'll be doing Battle Network speedruns and learning Japanese. Isn't that great? I like it. I have fun with streams. So it's visibility versus 問題ないと思うよ。Yay. So Abby's just here chilling and vibing. I love it. I mean, there are other people that are like lurking, probably something like Seth and stuff. That's for like world record or something, right? 持っていますか? That's for like world records, right? I remember seeing it somewhere in one of either Teragumba stream. 気力はい、も持っています。はい。そうですよね。No one has ever run it yet. 来年困りと困りやリッシュやthey're gonna run it. Kumari and Race are gonna try to run BM1. So at that point I may lose it. ほらごめん。世界気力。なるほど。I'm gonna save these words because they're pretty useful in my environment. Because whenever I watch like RTA runners and stuff, and having this vocabulary is pretty good. In my Twitter full of titties, I mean in my Twitter it's kind of hard to see stuff like that. I do have another Twitter in which I'm trying to follow speedruns and stuff, so I'll probably see that more often. But in my normal private normal account, it's kind of hard to see. Anyway, let's continue. You heard nothing about titties. Anyway, what grammar? Yes. Visibility versus ability to see. 見えると見れる。So, And the same basically applies for 聞けると聞こえる。Let's put how many examples do I want? Because I don't know how much this aru exception is gonna take me in the notes. Probably not much. I should be able to fill this page. So I do go a little bit slowly when doing this, mostly because when people chat, we kind of get derailed talking, which is still good practice, and because I like to have very good clean notes that I could literally scan and send anyone, and they'd be able to learn Japanese with it, or like just hand this over to a friend or something, right? Or in my case, to be able to review at any point important concept. まあ私は、昼飯。だ昼飯。昼食かな作りますから、また今度。じゃあね、はい、見に来てくれて、本当にありがとうございます。助けても。The help to, yeah. またね、ありがとう。Thanks a lot for watching, dude. I'll see you around. Pay attention to Hanabi. It will happen soon, TM. Yay. Take care, dude. So let's put the two examples here. 今日は晴れて、はい。違う。Sonia knows. Sonia does know. This is hareru. And then it became harete. So I cleared up today in the form. Oh, this is just the term form to like link stuff together. 今日は晴れて富士山が見える。Okay. なるほど。I'm just gonna put this part, honestly, 富士山が見える in terms of like 富士山 is visible. Because it could be from like this place too as well. Fuji. Wow, that's very scuffed. 富士山が見える。This electronic music is too good. So wait, hold up. How would I say that? It's Tony JP title. Come on. 逆転裁判。そう。逆転裁判の BGM はすごく好き。I think probably. Okay. Where were we? Yes. So, 富士山が見えると、ただで見られた。Yeah, this is like weird a little bit. So, ただで見られた。ただで見られた。And it's getting, I don't like how it's turned out in my notes, but just gonna put, there's other way to say it. Man, this song is so chill. Hopefully it's, wait, I think I made it too loud now. Okay, so put in the examples there, and then it'd be kikeru versus kikoeru. Kikeru versus kikoeru. So actually this, now that I'm looking this up, there's a thing I used to, I do whenever there's something I don't fully understand between two things. I look up the following thing on Google. I just do something, for example, like this. Kikeru to kikoeru nani ga chigau. Chigau. And usually, usually you get something like this. In this case, it's telling you about kiku and kiku for like just hear and to actually listen and pay attention, right? Not chigai. So, or just, I guess I should be doing this to this, kiku to kikoeru. Kiku to kikoeru no chigai wa, right? I'll look it up. So yeah, cool thing I do to look up stuff. Usually kind of works, even though it may be like broken Japanese that doesn't really help that much, but usually Google is smart enough to show me what I'm looking for. So that's cool to keep in mind. Kikeru, kikoeru. So, 同じこと。So, same as above. Hearable versus ability to hear, really. Which is really cool. To have these nuances in the language. I think it's really cool. I really like it. Mawari wa urusakute. I'm just gonna put Mawari wa urusa 周りはうるさいから聞こえなかった。So because our environments really, the surroundings, yeah, thank you. So the surroundings are noisy. I couldn't hear you just now, right? I couldn't hear you. For example, also, it's reassuring to see that the kanji for mawari that I learned, it is in fact used as I thought it was gonna be. Mawari wa urusai kara. If you're gonna take a nap, good luck with studying, Mr. Dallas. Thanks a lot for hanging out, Abby, and chilling and just be comfy. I appreciate it. 見に来てくれてありがとうございます。Have a good nap. Yeah. Take care, dude. I'll see you around. Hopefully. I like to stop by one of your streams, but usually they're like... I'll try. We'll see. I should have way more free time now that I finished finals and all that stuff. そう、周りがうるさいから聞こえなかった。聞こえなかった。聞こえなかった。そう。聞こえなかった。which is 聞こえる。In the past. Negative past. Yeah, so it'd be something like I wasn't able to hear your voice and like I couldn't hear you, right? In a way. It's weird. I understand the nuances, but it's hard to translate into English or localize because there's not such a thing. You just say I couldn't hear you, in a way, right? But you also say I couldn't hear his voice, right? You know, because I haven't seen him in a long time. It's also could not hear. But there's a nuance here of this is more of like not be able to hear that, right? It's not because of you couldn't properly hear it or something. It's just you weren't able to, for example, speak to him or something. But then here it's just like you couldn't because yeah, because it wasn't hearable really. It's like yeah, so put this hearability versus ability to hear in a way. It's hard to explain any better than the book did, honestly. 見えると聞こえる。So, let's see what else we have in store for 4.5, 4.6. Oh my god, Ball Network 4.5 still haunting me to this day, except, okay. Oh, okay. Ooh, the next chapter, 4.7, looks like a hot one. Cool one. Okay. Aru, yet another exception. Let's look at the vocabulary real quick to understand. Okay. そんなこと。ありえる。あり得る。To possibly exist. Oh, okay, so this is あり得る。なるほど。Like, I kind of knew it. Actually, in Black Clover, one of the main characters, says this a lot. ありえない。彼はありえない。よく言っています。言っていました。Yeah, he was saying, yeah, okay. I'm not sure how I want to say it anyway. Nebo, oversleep. Okay. I'm kind of used to hear. I don't know why I'm thinking of nebosuke as in like sleepyhead in a way, right? Or someone that tends to oversleep a lot. Nebosuke. So it comes from nebo to oversleep. Okay. Suru, sore, hanashi. So, ありえる、寝坊。ありえると寝坊の漢字知らなかったからメモを書きます。Because I didn't know the kanji for those words, I'll write it. It's not really a memo, it's more like note. メモじゃなくてノートでしょ。はい。ありえる。そう。ありえる、あり得る。あり得る。あり得る、あり得る。はい。Okay. あり そうでしょ。ありえる。So it'd be something like あり It's either え or う。ありえる。So to possibly exist in a way, right? To possibly exist. Yeah, exactly. To possibly exist. So Ari and I, it's like it's impossible that it exists, right? In a way, impossible basically. Ari and I. Oh. Okay. And the other is Nebo to oversleep. Nebo oversleep. Yeah. Okay. I unfortunately don't really know the kanji for neru that well. Even though it's super common. It ended up really janky. Okay, don't worry about it. So, oversleep. Well, okay. So, ありえると、はい。With that, okay. So, ある. Yet another exception. Let's look why. Let's yet another exception. You can say that something has a possibility of existing by combining aru and the verb uru. I'm pretty sure, right? I think that's uru. Yep, uru. To be able to can. Okay. Yeah, so you can say that something has a possibility of existing by combining aru and the verb uru to produce arieru. This essentially means aru koto ga dekiru. So, except that nobody actually says that, they just use arieru. This verb is very curious and that can be read either as ariuru or arieru. However, all the other conjugations such as arienai, arieta, and arienakata only have one possible reading using e. And that's why I always think of arieru. Because, okay, なるほど。そんなことはあり得る。そんなことはあり得る。そんなことはありえない。彼が寝坊したこともあり得るね。あり得るね。It's also, okay. それはありえない話だよ。それはありえない話だよ。Okay. なるほど。わかった。わかりました。だけ。わかりました。はい。So, I'm just gonna write あり得る。あり得る。あり。Yeah, okay, I drew it properly. I wrote it properly. ちょっと書きました。Okay. So, ありえる or ありうる。I mean, can I just personally read it as ありえる all the time and simply understand that ありうる exists? Because I feel like that makes my life much easier when every time I'm conjugating I'm using ありえる, so I can just think of it as a single verb ありえる, that it's a possibility that it exists in a way, right? Because you can say something else by could. They just use ありえる. So all the conjugations are read with the e. So let's write some examples here. After writing why, so you can say something has the possibility of existing. Ability, or what, the possibility or a possibility, I guess, of existing with ありえる and ありえる. Conjugations only use the latter. So only the e reading. So それはありえない話だよ。I like example 4 and 5. I like examples 4 and 5. 4と5。4と5でしましょう。Whatever. I try. Okay. 誰がでも彼は寝坊した。彼は寝坊したこともあり得るね。そう、あり得る。そう、あり得る。もう、あり得るね。So the event that he overlaps is also possibly exists. So it's possible he overslept. Well, it's also possible, I suppose. It's also possible he overslept. Because we're using it more. And the final example is それはありえない話だよ。それはありえない話だよ。ありえない話だよ。 It's an impossible story scenario. Yeah, so that story scenario cannot exist. So basically, impossible story scenario. Yeah. It depends on the context of Hanashi. Really. Arienai. Oh my god. Aren't those pretty notes? Pretty content with how the notes turned out today. Look at this. Mireru versus mieru. Kikeru versus kikoeru. Ariuru or arieru. Yeah, the potential form with rareru and eru. ノートをちゃんと書きました。I like it. There's a sense of proudness. I'm proud there. Okay, so chapter 4.7 is something we're gonna see tomorrow. Let's look at it real quick as a small preview. But do understand that we're gonna do this tomorrow. So I just said suru and naru with the ni. 魔法店になる。よになる or よにする. So we can use the verbs suru and naru in conjunctions with the ni particle to make various useful expressions. We're used to using the object particle with suru because something is usually done to something else. We'll see how the meaning changes when we change the particle to ni. As for naru, it is always used with the ni particle because becoming is not action done to something else, but rather a target of change. The grammatical point of interest here is using naru with e adjectives and verbs. So, ni naru and ni suru. Which I've not watched Naruto, but they probably say something like Hokage ni naru, right? To become Hokage or something. So yeah, the example I said earlier, it comes up in Black Clover. Ashita yoku imashita. Mahote, wareo, mahote ni naru. Something like that. Like I'm gonna become the magic governor. Sorry, I cannot really. How do I even translate the mahote? Emperor. Okay, sure. Anyway, ということで残念ながら今日の配信はここまで。配信は終わりします。はい。Fortunately, that's it for today's stream. 見に来てくれて本当にありがとうございます。楽しかった。いっぱい。We learned a lot. It was pretty cool. Thanks a lot for coming or watching and hanging out. I appreciate it. Let's look for a host target or raid target, I suppose. There's a bunch of people that have the JP English on my follow list because I've been following people. And let's go with this person. Hopefully they're cool. I don't know. I suppose. お疲れ様。そう。皆さん、お疲れ様でした。はい、忘れた。You were looking, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate lurkers and all that. But yeah, I'll be hosting now. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye.